Yes! Hello everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of The Completionist. You know, between you and me, in all of my many years of playing video games, one of my most favorite video game sound bites is when a Terran Marine comes marching out of that barracks saying, "You want a piece of me, boy?" That's right, today I tackle one of my favorite RTSs of all time, Starcraft. But I also wanted to show some appropriate love, not only to one of the most underrated YouTube channels out there, but also to one of the best Starcraft players I personally know. Everyone, please welcome to the show, Zurachi.
Hey Gerard, thanks for having me. I can't wait to dive in and start talking about one of my favorite RTS franchises ever. Even if we start with the first...
Let's do this!
What's the big get-up, man?
Don't you do mariachi covers of video game music? Zurachi the one-man mariachi?
No.
Oh. So no mariachi covers then?
No. No.
Back in 1996, Blizzard had just wrapped up production on the sequel to their successful real-time strategy game Warcraft with Warcraft 2: Tides of Darkness. While a follow-up to Warcraft 2 was inevitable, Blizzard first wanted a change of scenery, and for that, they decided to reach to a galaxy far, far away. Sorry, I'm just really hyped for Episode 7, you guys.
And reach they did. At E3 1996, we got to see some sneak peeks of Blizzard's newest IP, StarCraft, and it didn't look great. The most common complaint about StarCraft was how similar it was to its big brother Warcraft. From its engine to its general gameplay, StarCraft initially left many less than impressed. It also didn't help that Dominion Storm Over Gift 3, an upcoming rival sci-fi RTS, was blowing the fledgling StarCraft out of the water in terms of positive responses. So, despite the hit to team morale, Blizzard went back to the drawing board and changed the game's entire developmental process. Even though it turned out, years later, that the early demo of Dominion Storm Over Gift 3 was actually just a pre-rendered movie with people pretending to play the game, this event went on to inspire a complete reimagining of all of Blizzard's standards and processes.
After a year of hard work and elbow grease, the StarCraft that we know and love was finally shown off to the public, introducing players to the take of 3 faded intergalactic species. With its totally revamped look and gameplay, StarCraft went on to sell over 11 million copies.
And the rest is history. The following expansion, StarCraft Brood War, came out to much success. StarCraft was then ported to the Nintendo 64 as StarCraft 64, which contained all the campaign missions from the original and the expansion. And of course, we can't forget the recently completed StarCraft 2 trilogy, StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty, Heart of the Swarm, and Legacy of the Void. StarCraft's competitive following continues to be unprecedented among video games to this day. So let's take a magnifying glass to the game that started it all.
Ooh, magnifying glasses? Does that mean we get to be detectives?
I guess so, yeah.
Oh, I want to be Luther. Luther's badass. He's badass.
Okay, then I'm Batman.
God damn it, now I want to change. I want to be Batman. StarCraft takes place in the 25th century, where 3 different species are at war amongst themselves and with each other. There's the Terran, humans that came from Earth to fend for themselves for the future and good of humanity. The Zerg, a bug-like alien race that's hell-bent on the domination and infestation of many worlds. And the Protoss, a noble and intellectual alien race that searches for the truth behind the origin of their species, even as they face the brink of extinction.
StarCraft is chopped up into 3 different campaigns. These campaigns not only tell the stories of intergalactic combat, but also introduce the player to each individual race, which of their units do what, and the general importance of battle strategy. In the Terran Campaign, you play as a new commander who teams up with rogue commanding officer Jim Raynor in an attempt to retake a Terran colony on the world of Mars Sera after a Zerg infestation. Upon doing so, General Duke of the Confederate Army claims that you and Raynor are responsible for the damages incurred to the colony and are now enemies of the Confederate Army.
Guess you wouldn't be a Confederate if you weren't a complete pain in the ass.
Meanwhile, the rise of the Sons of Korhal is underway, as Arcturus Manx seeks to unite and liberate the Terran race so that they can successfully battle both the Zerg and Protoss. The Terran Campaign switches often between these two perspectives, leaving the player wondering who will end up on the winning side.
The Zerg and Protoss campaigns are unfortunately tied to the results of one another as well as the results of the Terran Campaign, so we'll try and tiptoe around the more spoily events in a bit. In the Zerg campaign, the Zerg are trying their best to achieve maximum overmind as they breed and infest their way throughout outer space, with you as their newest cerebret. Spread infection, spread!
The Protoss, due to events we can't discuss yet, end up fighting for their lives as they attempt to stop the Zerg from achieving their goal of destruction. Tassadar, one of the Protoss' higher generals, seeks help from Zeratul and the Dark Templar, an exiled sect of Protoss soldiers. The Protoss storyline, much like the Terran Campaign, features elements of choice between two sides.
The story of Starcraft is incredible, and it's honestly fascinating to consider that even that far into the future, war can still be waged, even between alien races. There's no such thing as peace in the 25th century.
Starcraft does an impressive job of telling its story from multiple perspectives, but never making the player feel like they've chosen the good guy character or the bad guy character. Whoever you choose is good, and you want to be on their side. Whoever is bad or sketchy, you know right away. I mean, just look at General Duke and Arcturus Manx. They both breathe evil.
The RTS genre up to this point had been pretty basic looking, with Warcraft 2 probably looking the best and Command & Conquer close behind. Any graphical advancements made by a new RTS impacted its sales immensely, and at the time, Starcraft blew them all out of the water. I mean, even replaying this game till this day, it holds up very well. Every map, whether it be created by users with original assets or official ones by Blizzard themselves, had the potential to be a wonderful piece of art, a canvas waiting to be painted, if you will.
The game's story is told through various text boxes, voice-acted conversations, and 3D cutscenes. These cutscenes, by today's standards, are a little bit on the laughable side, but the voice acting during mission briefings still sells the story well. Story points also unfold in real time as objectives are met and situations change.
Zerg, I don't believe this.
Believe it.
These methods of communication give StarCraft an easily digestible feel, despite its difficult terminology. And hey, at the very least, if you want a little Easter egg fun, every unit character has some bothered dialogue you can hear if you continually click on them.
I told him I was claustrophobic. I gotta get out of here.
How do I get out of this chicken shit outfit?
I don't have time to f*** around.
I vote we frag this commander.
My favorite thing about the overall visual work with StarCraft is how every portrait for every character is, well crafted. It seems weird, but there's a sense of satisfaction that comes with witnessing each unit look, sound, and behavior perfectly. Conveyance to overall game aesthetic is so important that games sometimes forget what they are, but StarCraft knows exactly what it is.
The music in StarCraft is magnificent. Each track is themed after each race, so depending on who you play as, you'll be rocking out as the Terran, creeping as the Zerg, or doing some deep thinking with the Protoss. What's even cooler is that there are two different composers on the soundtrack, and yet it all kind of blends and flows well together. The sound design definitely fits in with the entire picture of the game.
I love you, Sarge.
I'm going to assume that many of you have not played a real-time strategy game before, so I'm going to quickly break down how StarCraft is played. StarCraft is about resource management, map awareness, and strategies. Your goal is to mine minerals and gas as efficiently as you can build your bases. Each race has a main commander center or hub which requires you to create mining units. Those units can create all the buildings you'll need to create a base, so with enough resources and a unit, you can build a base anywhere. You'll need to expand as quick as you can before you get attacked or run out of resources. Whether it's a 2 versus 2 team effort, a simple 1 versus 1 environment, or maybe even a free-for-all, your objective is to take out the enemy team as quickly as possible. Either you or them have got to go.
Now, right off the bat, the most important thing I can recommend when starting with StarCraft is to play the campaign. Learn the basics of how each race functions, along with discovering which one is your favorite. My personal favorite are the Protoss, because they're just as powerful as they look.
I prefer playing as Terran, but I'm pretty good at playing as all of them. At their core, each race in the original StarCraft have strengths and weaknesses that demonstrate what it means to be a member of that particular race. For example, Zerglings are meant for quick attacks and invasions to apply pressure and can only attack ground units, whereas something like Hydralisks are slower, but they attack both on the ground and in the air. These variances are represented in all of the species and are capable of countering each other depending on the circumstances.
Although not fully new in concept, StarCraft perfected the art of upgrading your units. You can build certain buildings that will allow research to go into buffing your unit's attack, defense, speed, and special abilities. In order to unlock all the units for the building, you'll need to build specific buildings and their counterpart attachments or units to go alongside them. If your factory lets you build tanks, vultures, and Goliaths, you'll need to invest on the side attachment building so the tanks can go into siege mode, or that you'll get more mines for your vultures to lay down. Simple enough, right?
Aside from the main campaign, the biggest appeal of StarCraft is the online competitive scene. Granted, no one is really playing vanilla StarCraft as much as, let's say, Brood War or StarCraft 2, but the multiplayer is where it all started. Online, there's tons of custom maps created by thousands of people all across the world. Custom maps that range from parroting television shows, to other games, to even creating original stories. For the fierce competitors, there were the usual free-for-alls or team fights, but the weakest thing about vanilla StarCraft online play is that each race has a unit or two that was simply overpowered and could not be stopped. This is something that was taken into account with the game's several patches and eventual expansion, with the inclusion of new units fixing the issue. But at the very least, you can play with friends. Hey Gerard, you any good at StarCraft?
A long time ago, maybe. Why?
Well, I'd figured we'd show everyone how good you and I are as a team.
You know, that does sound like a lot of fun. I think we'll be just fine.
Wow.
Well, I tried. With no completion bonus in sight, one of the biggest guilty pleasures StarCraft has to offer in a single-player experience is cheat codes. That's right, this game came with a lot of cheat codes that did all kinds of different stuff. Power Overwhelming made you invincible. Operation Qual, or Can't Wait Any Longer, made building and unit spawn near instant. The Gathering gave infinite power to all units on the map. Show Me the Money showered you in cash. Black Sheep Wall showed you the entire map. There Is No Cow level literally cleared the level for you. And there are even more codes beyond that. Although some would claim that these codes ruin the StarCraft experience, they actually helped me to understand on how to manage my resources a bit better, or determine just where the enemy bases may be, based on behavioral patterns. But it might also be that I turn on all the codes just so I can watch the Zerg race go up in flames with nuclear bombs. It could be that I also learn backwards sometimes, but hey, you don't have to take my word for it.
In the Terran Campaign, after teaming up with Arcturus Mengsk, we've been introduced to Lieutenant Kerrigan, a ghost that's second in command. As Mengsk starts to rise in power, it's revealed that he's secretly trying to build an empire, forcing General Duke to come to the Sun's side. This jeopardizes Kerrigan's life by leaving her stranded in the very last mission of the game with a seemingly never-ending horde of Zerg, as you and Raynor watch her fend for herself.
Commander? Jim? What the hell is going on up there?
This is where the Zerg Campaign starts. As the new Cerebrit, you get your bearings on how to control the Zerg by protecting a new egg. Once it hatches, it's revealed that said egg is actually a now-infested Kerrigan. With her Zerg and Ghost abilities combined, she's now one of the Overmind's most powerful resources. As the game goes on, it's revealed that after an alteration with the Dark Templar Zeratul, the Zerg now know of the location of Ire, the homeland of the Protoss. The last mission sees the Zerg destroying the Protoss Temple, apparently wiping out the Protoss race.
And now we are the Protoss. Aldaris starts to crown you as the new magistrate of the Protoss to try and help rebuild the race while they're on the run from the Zerg on Ire. After meeting and saving several generals, including the now branded traitor Tassadar, Aldaris casts you out as one of them. Tassadar is now your team leader who wants to save the Protoss race. Now, the ragtime team of Zeratul and the Dark Templar Knights, Tassadar, your Protoss generals, Jim Raynor, and you must break through the Overmind and stop them from taking Ire.
With the final events of this campaign, you end up defeating the Zerg, but they end up becoming too powerful to deal with. A cutscene is shown with Tassadar commanding his ship and sacrificing himself for the good of Ire and ramming it into the Overmind. While this certainly slows the Zerg down, it also results in massive casualties on the Protoss and Terran sides, leaving everyone's fates uncertain until the events of Starcraft Brood War. Starcraft is, without a doubt, my favorite RTS of all time. Blizzard knocked it out of the park with this one. The storytelling mixed in with its simple and yet complex gameplay, mashed in with that 90s goodness of RTSs, brings a ton of fun to the table. It may not be the most compelling RTS to some, but there's no doubt of how important Starcraft is to gaming history.
The hardest thing about StarCraft is learning. This game is all about creating and understanding the fundamentals that lie before you. It's going to take a while, but with enough practice against skilled players, well, let's just say you have to be very passionate about the game.
I feel like we did this well. We discussed a lot today about the ins and the outs of StarCraft in a manner that's both respectable and thorough.
I agree. There's still so much that we didn't talk about, but that's the thing. StarCraft is just on such an epic scale that it's nearly impossible to squeeze that much information onto a single video. It's really the kind of game that rewards you as you keep learning about it as you play it and play it.
So, with that in mind, guys, we give this game our completionist rating of Complete It.
Complete it!
You must construct additional pylons, and in order to do that, you've got to hit that subscribe button. And hey, while you're at it, check out Zurachi's channel. His music is incredible. If you're looking for more Blizzard goodness, check out our review we did on Diablo 2. Or if you missed last week's episode on Super Mario Galaxy 2, give it a click right here. Now back to us. That's all the time we've got for today, guys, so please, as always, let us know what you thought about today's episode somewhere on the internet. Zurachi, thank you so much for coming here, man. Guys, he makes great music. Go check him out. I promise you won't be disappointed.
No problem at all, Gerard. Seriously, it was a huge pleasure being on the show, and it was definitely a huge pleasure talking about StarCraft. It's made such a huge impact on my life, I couldn't refuse. But yeah, if you guys want to check out my channel, it's at Zurachi TV. I do video game covers, I do top 10s, I do reviews, and just any sort of game-related fun, really. Yeah!
Now, if you excuse us, Mark, show 'em what happened to the shakers. Not the salt shakers, the mariachi shakers. Well, that bit's ruined. I broke both of them. I literally broke both of them. I broke both of them. I broke both of them at the same time. I want everyone to understand that I broke both of them at the same time.